10 days into the silent treatment with Vivian, she took her childhood friend to Hawaii. That night, she called me, her voice languid, as if she were trying to placate me. "Stop being so dramatic, okay? Or we'll have to break up." I said, "Then let's break up." "Why?" "Because I need to go to sleep." She was in Hawaii and had probably forgotten about the time difference. It was 3 a.m. here. Honestly, I was already grumpy from being woken up by Vivian's call. But when I saw the familiar caller ID, "Darling," I swallowed all my frustration. I took 3 seconds to compose myself before answering. My voice was raspy. "Hello?" I sounded congested, probably because I'd been in a bad mood earlier. I could hear the sound of waves crashing through the receiver. Vivian's voice was languid. "Hey, baby." Her tone was so familiar, as if we hadn't been giving each other the silent treatment at all. She continued, "We haven't talked in days. Aren't you curious where I am?" "Hawaii." "Yep. Well, have fun." I was ready to go back to sleep. But even as sleepiness enveloped me, Vivian cut me off. "Frank told me you're really upset." Her voice lifted at the end, sounding almost smug. I paused. I remembered Frank calling me before I went to bed. He was practically losing his mind on the other end. "Kevin, did you and Vivian break up or not?" "No, we're just not talking." Frank was indignant. "Then why is she in Hawaii with Ethan? Is she not even trying to hide it? Are you just part of their little game?" "She went to Hawaii with Ethan?" "Yes." Ethan. He'd grown up with Vivian and her whole crew. He was the golden boy, the most outstanding of their generation, so the adults and his friends always let him get away with everything. When they were kids, Ethan was always stuck to Vivian's side. For no other reason than she was the prettiest and the wildest. But Vivian couldn't stand him. Having him around meant no drinking, no skipping class, and no fighting. So later, when people tried to set them up, Vivian would wave her hands dismissively. "Forget it. The guy's a spoiled brat and so high maintenance. I have zero feelings for him." While I was lost in thought, Frank sent me a screenshot. The caption read, "Some people's photography skills are questionable." It was just one picture, a live photo. Doesn't Ethan hate posting on his social feed? I'd never seen a single post from him. No way, he posts all the time. "You've never seen them?" I really hadn't. I opened my feed and, sure enough, there was his post. I played the live photo. The angle was low, which did make Ethan look 6 feet tall. He was already handsome, and even his pretend anger had a playful edge to it. There was a conversation in the photo. "Do I look good?" A soft laugh came from behind the camera, as if teasing him. "You look great." That was Vivian, never a hint of guilt, even when she was up to no good. I don't know why, but that one photo made my eyes burn. I quickly shut them, trying to stop the stinging, but it was useless. My vision blurred. Frank immediately panicked. "Kevin, are you okay? Vivian is such a jerk. Who cares if she's pretty? She still breaks your heart. This is all my fault. I shouldn't have gotten worked up and told you." Just then, my alarm went off. 11 o'clock, my bedtime. I sniffled, holding back a sob as I tried to reassure Frank. "It's okay. Even if you hadn't told me, I would have found out." I just checked Ethan's feed and realized he used to hide his posts from me, but he unhid them. That's why I can see this photo now. Frank tried to comfort me more. I said, "It's fine, really. I need to go to sleep. I'll talk to you tomorrow, okay?" But my choked up voice and the trembling I couldn't control didn't sound very convincing. That must be why Frank called Vivian to chew her out. But it was like I just switched off my emotions and fell asleep. Before I drifted off, I even wondered if I had a histrionic personality. How could I go from feeling my heart clench 1 second to being dead asleep the next? Why was I upset? Maybe it was because Vivian and I had planned to take a vacation to a tropical island. Or maybe it was the ambiguity between her and Ethan. Or maybe it's just that you're supposed to be upset when you find out your girlfriend went on a trip with another guy. I didn't find an answer. And then, I was woken up by Vivian. Vivian was still smiling. I could hear the wind whistling into the phone and could perfectly picture her. She had probably just watched the sunrise with Ethan, wrapped in a feeling of pure contentment, so relaxed that even calling me felt effortless. Frank called and chewed me out. Said you were really upset. All of our childhood friends are here, not just him. Next time, I'll come with just you. Didn't you want a vacation on an island? Yesterday, we chased the sunset on the scenic highway. I was so tired. So I just mumbled, okay, next time. I'm gonna hang up now. But she let out an impatient TSK. There was a hint of a warning in her voice. Kevin, stop being so dramatic. Okay? Or we're really going to break up. Then let's break up. The words just slipped out, as if in response to hers. Vivian scoffed. What did you just say? It was like she was deigning to give me one more chance. My breath caught for a second. But I said it again. I said, let's break up. Vivian seemed to take a few deep breaths before asking calmly. Why? I clutched the corner of my blanket and said softly, because I need to go to sleep. Just because of that? Yeah, just because of that. Vivian let out a cold laugh, then said maliciously, then don't you regret it? Because this time, even if you get on your knees and beg, I sure as hell won't take you back. The next second, I heard the sound of a phone being thrown and shattering. The line went dead, but now I couldn't sleep. Was sleep really that important? I guess not. I was sent to live with Vivian's family during my sophomore year of high school. Vivian's grandfather and my grandfather were buddies from the army. The bond between the older generation was deep, and since my parents had passed away early, my grandfather paved the way for me before he was gone. He made one phone call to entrust me to their care. Vivian was beautiful and free-spirited. Felt like we were from different worlds. In college, she was always traveling abroad with her friends. One time, it was my birthday. I didn't expect her to remember. But the day before, she asked me, is it your birthday tomorrow? I said yes. Vivian laughed. Then I'll call you at midnight to wish you a happy birthday. Okay. Vivian loved adventure, racing, surfing, skiing, rock climbing. She spent a fortune on those hobbies every year. On my birthday, she was with friends watching waterfalls in the fjords of Norway. I never really got my hopes up about people's promises. But that night, I sat at my desk studying until midnight, the dim lamplight illuminating my phone, which was always on. My roommate asked, it's not finals week yet, is it? Kevin, why are you studying so hard? I just can't seem to fall asleep. Well, we're going to bed then. It was midnight. My heart pounded in my chest. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes passed. The English words on the page started to dance, and I couldn't make sense of them. I opened my phone, thinking I'd look up a grammar rule. I realized I'd only put it on silent, not airplane mode. The internet was still on, and calls could come through. At 1 a.m., I changed Vivian's contact name to Liar. At 2 a.m., I changed it back and put my phone under my pillow. At 3 a.m., I quietly got out of bed and sat in the hanging chair. At 3:52 a.m., Vivian called. I tiptoed out of the room, afraid of waking my roommates. In the empty hallway, I wrapped my jacket tighter around myself. The Boston winters were especially cold. The frigid wind cleared my head a bit. But I still pretended I'd just been woken up. My voice groggy and muffled. Vivian, what's up? Did I wake you? I was just chasing the northern lights and forgot to call. Her voice was so clear and full of life that all my previous disappointment just pathetically vanished. It's fine. I forgive you. Vivian said, happy birthday, Kevin. Thanks. Vivian shared some photos with me. We talked for almost half an hour. Her girlish enthusiasm was intoxicating. This person is truly captivating, I thought. When we hung up, I realized my hands were frozen stiff. Back in my warm bed, I smiled to myself. So stupid. At 5 a.m., I changed Vivian's contact name to Lacuna, which means a blank space. The next time I heard from Vivian was a month later. My coffee shop's orders had exploded. After graduation, I'd landed contracts with a lot of companies, becoming their coffee supplier. But I'd never used Vivian's connections to get a leg up. Around noon, though, the receptionist from Vivian's company came in and ordered enough for 100 people. She had a cute, round face. Could you please make it as fast as possible? My boss has been in a bad mood lately, and I'm afraid if I'm slow, I'll get fired tomorrow for stepping into the office with my left foot first. I smiled. I don't think that'll happen, but I'll be as quick as I can. When I delivered the coffee to her company, I didn't go inside. I just left it at the front desk. As I passed by, I caught a glimpse of Vivian in her office. Her hair was in a neat bun, and she wore a sharp women's suit, looking serious and austere. I glanced over, but she didn't look at me. I just kept walking. I thought that would be the end of it. But a little while later, I got a call from the young receptionist. Kevin, someone at our company got a stomachache from your coffee. You might need to take them to the hospital. My heart sank. I said quickly, how many people? Is it serious? How could this happen? Her voice was hesitant. Not many, just one. Who? The receptionist glanced at her boss, who was standing right in front of her. Vivian's face was expressionless. She looked cocky as hell, not like someone with a stomachache at all. The receptionist's face fell. It's our boss. I was silent for a moment. Then it's probably not my coffee. If she has time, Ms. Bernard should make an appointment with a specialist at the city hospital to get her head checked. After I hung up, my thoughts were a mess. Vivian had never been a difficult person. In the years we'd been dating, we'd had our share of breakup threats. But after every fight, I was always the one to make peace first. After all, Vivian had a lot of pride and was a bit domineering. Even when she wanted to make up, she'd only drop a subtle hint, leaving the rest to me. Just like today. The receptionist ordered coffee, and Vivian was sure that if she just stood there, I would come to her. But for some reason, this time I didn't want to. By the time I got off work, night had fallen. The exhaustion from the long drive home almost crushed me. I opened my door, only to see Vivian. I froze. What are you doing here? Compared to the serious professional I'd seen in the office at noon, she was now in loungewear, looking much softer. She looked up at me. Her expression almost hurt. Why haven't you reached out to me this whole month? I looked down, taking off my shoes. I didn't block you and I didn't change my number. So, if you wanted to find me, you probably could have. What about you? Why did you have to wait for me to come to you first? I had the receptionist order coffee today. That was business, not love. She'd been the boss for so long she'd forgotten how to bend. My gaze was steady. Besides, you're the one who said it, right? We already broke up. Vivian shot up, her long legs closing the distance in a few strides, pinning me against the wall. She frowned, almost shouting. You know, I was just angry, but I wasn't. I tried to move, but Vivian grabbed my wrist, her grip tight, and pushed me back against the wall. Kevin. Her eyes were red with anger, but they faltered when they met my calm gaze. She closed her eyes, lowered her head, and leaned against my shoulder in defeat. Her tone softened. I told you, Ethan is just a friend I grew up with. I only went to Hawaii because we were fighting and I wanted to clear my head. I honestly didn't expect him to follow me. She nuzzled my neck, kissing my shoulder. A single hot tear fell on my skin, almost searing me. I was wrong. I didn't know you cared so much about Ethan. I'll keep my distance from him from now on. Okay? Then, right in front of me, Vivian blocked and deleted Ethan's contact. She'd never done anything like this before. Felt new. As I stood there, stunned, an alarm went off, shattering my thoughts.
10 o'clock.
Pushed her away. I need to go take a shower. So we're not breaking up? Vivian asked softly, holding my hand. I don't want to talk about this right now. She started to say something else, but I cut her off. Annoyed. That's enough. Let's not talk about it anymore. Vivian had never been this clingy. Her eyes downcast, she looked hurt. Well, I don't want to break up. Whatever you want. 7 years together. This incident didn't seem serious enough to warrant a breakup. It just wasn't enough. The timing didn't feel right. It was like all my energy had been drained over 7 years of entanglement. And now I didn't even want to say another word. I was too tired. So tired that I didn't even want to argue about breaking up. I couldn't stay in the bathroom forever, so I went back to the bedroom. As soon as I lay down, Vivian snuggled up and wrapped her arms around me. I used to love hugging Vivian. She worked out regularly and had a slim, curvy figure. When she held me, I always felt softly enveloped, filled with a sense of security. Maybe it was because my parents died when I was young, and I was later entrusted to her family's care. For a time, a lover's embrace was something I found myself addicted to. A moment later, Vivian bit my shoulder, her hand tracing my waist and stomach, trying to move higher. I stopped her. "Vivian, I don't want to." She rolled me onto my back, her eyes teasing. "Why not? Don't tell me you don't like it. I need to go to sleep." It was 11 o'clock. Vivian laughed. "Don't make excuses. Back when we first started sleeping together, you loved it when I kept you up all night. In the beginning, when our passion was at its peak, every touch felt incredible. As for now, it's not an excuse. It's what the doctor said." Vivian stopped kissing me and met my gaze. "When did you see a doctor?" "That one time. I told you when I went because I thought I was seriously ill." I turned over, my back to her. I closed my eyes, feigning sleep. Thankfully, it wasn't anything terminal. Just my hormones are out of whack from too much stress. The doctor told me to get more rest. For a long time, Vivian was often traveling abroad for business, gone for weeks at a time, constantly busy. Our calls became shorter and less frequent. When she finally came back, I was struck by how long it had been since I'd seen her. Her hair had grown a bit longer and was loosely tied back, revealing her smooth forehead. Her bone structure was sharp, giving her a very capable look. In college, she was so carefree. While everyone else was cramming for finals, she was off traveling the world. She used to take me with her on trips during winter and summer breaks. But after she took over the company, we saw each other less and less. She held me on the couch, kissing my neck affectionately, tickled, and I pulled away. I keenly noticed a slight change in her scent. "You changed your perfume?" Vivian liked light scents. This one was a bit strong. She hummed in agreement. "I had it custom made at a perfumery in England." I raised an eyebrow. "She never went shopping." "What? You don't like it?" I tried to stand up. "No, it's just, we haven't seen each other in a while. Feels a little strange." Vivian seemed to find that amusing, grabbing my waist and pulling me back into her arms. After that, the coffee shop got really busy. I started having constant stomach pain and a persistent low-grade fever. One day, my face suddenly went pale. I immediately made a doctor's appointment. As I opened the envelope with the results, my fingers trembled. In all our years together, Vivian and I had never talked about marriage. She craved freedom. I was focused on the present. There were all sorts of other reasons, too. So even though we were very close, we had a tacit agreement to avoid the heavy topic of the future. The results weren't back yet. I closed my eyes in frustration. Facing something like this for the first time, my first instinct was to call Vivian. She was probably at work. Her voice was calm and detached. My own voice was choked with fear and anxiety, making it hard to breathe. "Vivian, I think there might be something seriously wrong with me." There was a moment of silence. "Kevin, don't be scared. Go to the hospital for a checkup tomorrow." "But I have a business trip then. Can I have my assistant go with you?" "No, it's fine. I can go by myself." "Okay." But I couldn't bear the agonizing wait. I got a specialist appointment for that same day. While I waited, my fear turned to apprehension. If I really was seriously ill, what would I do? I thought, even if I end up alone, I can live a good life. It's just a shame I never got the chance to build a family with her. That was when I saw Vivian, with Ethan by her side. She was helping him walk toward the orthopedics department on the same floor. As they walked past, many people turned to look at the handsome couple. They were truly a sight to behold. My heart felt like a piece of it had been carved out, leaving a hole that could never be filled. A mechanical voice called out, "Now calling patient number 037, Kevin Hastings, to examination room 2. In the next second, Vivian's back stiffened, and she turned to look. But the crowd was dense, and she didn't see me. Ethan seemed to be frowning at her. "Vivian, what are you looking at?" Vivian instinctively looked back at him. "Nothing." Later, a doctor in a white coat smilingly welcomed her into an office, and I walked alone into mine. Thank God, it wasn't terminal. When I saw the report, tears instantly welled up in my eyes. Maybe this is what it feels like to be spared. Later, I never brought up the health scare again, and Vivian naturally forgot about it. The incident became just a small episode between us. Too small to even mention. Vivian held me tight. I'm sorry. I closed my eyes, but tears slid from the corners, soaking into the pillow. The words "it's okay" were stuck in my throat. It wasn't worth it. My fear of a serious illness and my tentative plans for the future weren't worth it. The pain caused by Ethan wasn't worth it. And Vivian, it seemed she wasn't worth it either. In college, Vivian rented an apartment off campus. We spent most of our time there, wrapped up in each other. When she held me in her arms while we binged a show and saw the main characters fight over some small misunderstanding, she would always say, "Why don't they just talk it out?" But I found it fascinating. She'd quote a lyric, "Pride often drags you along, making love's path crooked." I knew exactly what that meant. For example, in the chat logs on Vivian's tablet, I saw the suggestive photos of abs and pecs that Ethan had sent her. For example, I never asked why Vivian was helping Ethan to the orthopedics department. And for another example, after Ethan's social feed was no longer hidden from me, I discovered that the new perfume Vivian wore was one she'd bought with him, but none of it mattered anymore. When I got up, Vivian was still sound asleep. I pushed her hand off my waist and went straight to the bathroom to get ready. As I was making breakfast, Vivian came out of the bedroom in a panic. The alarm in her eyes faded a little when she saw me. I kept my head down, eating my breakfast quietly. "When did you get up?" I glanced at the time. "About 20 minutes ago." The silence that followed was awkward. I finished my breakfast quickly and noticed a strange look in Vivian's eyes. "Oh, I forgot to make you a plate." Before, whoever woke up first would make breakfast for both of us. But Vivian hadn't been over in almost 2 months. I was used to being alone, so I'd forgotten today. "Can make another one?" Maybe she heard the hesitation in my voice, because Vivian didn't insist. Instead, she smiled. "No, it's fine. I can skip breakfast." Back when Vivian was working her hardest, she often skipped meals. That's why she had issues with low blood sugar. That's just how she was. She'd go to extremes with both work and play. The words of concern were on the tip of my tongue, but I forced them back down. I figured her career was on track now. Even if I didn't remind her, her staff would. So I just nodded. "I'm heading out." Vivian stopped me. "Wait, I'll drive you." "You don't have to." Vivian looked me straight in the eye, her tone leaving no room for argument. "Kevin, it'll just take me a minute. I'm driving you." "Okay." The silence in the car was suffocating. I turned the music up a little louder. The scenery outside blurred past. Commuters rushed everywhere. I had no idea what this mutual torture in the car with Vivian was for. A notification popped up on my phone. From Vivian's mom. "Kevin, remember to come over for dinner with Vivian on Thanksgiving." I turned my head to look at Vivian. "Thanksgiving is coming up. Your mom wants us to come over for dinner." Vivian laughed. "She hasn't even told me yet." I managed a small smile. Vivian's family had always been good to me. When I first arrived in Boston, Vivian was the one who picked me up. Her parents were stuck in a meeting and couldn't make it, so to make sure I wasn't neglected, the important task of picking me up fell to her. Even though it meant interrupting her plans to hang out with friends. Her mom had given her strict orders not to give me any attitude. I'll never forget the first time I saw Vivian. I was wearing blue jeans and a white t-shirt with a neat, short haircut. One moment the sky was clear, the next it was pouring rain, the air thick with steam. Vivian called me, her teenage voice clear and pleasant. "Kevin, right? It's pouring and traffic's a nightmare. I'll be there in about 10 minutes. Find a place to wait." "Okay." She laughed on the other end. I stepped back under the awning. Boston was so hot even when it rained. The sun was still out. A little while later, Vivian called again. "I'm here. What are you wearing? Do you have an umbrella?" I looked down at my clothes and answered softly, "I don't have an umbrella. I'm wearing jeans, a white t-shirt, and I have a black suitcase." The sound of rain and footsteps filled my ear. The girl's voice was bright. "I see you." I looked up and met Vivian's smiling eyes. I instinctively took a deep breath, my shoulders and neck tensing as if to dodge raindrops that were still far away.
Kevin.
She took my suitcase and raised her eyebrows at me. Vivian. It wasn't raining in Boston now. Vivian's face merged with the image of her as a teenager. I was momentarily lost in a daze. She stopped the car. We're here. I unbuckled my seatbelt, hesitating for a moment before getting out. I leaned back in and said to her dazed self, "Make sure you get something to eat." A light suddenly sparked in her eyes. "Okay." I nodded and walked away without looking back. When I got to the shop, I found Frank waiting for me. He squinted at me, a sly look on his face. "Back together again?" I dodged the question. "Let me just whip up a super cool coffee for you, my good sir, and then I'll spill the beans." Frank sighed. "I knew you two wouldn't break up. 7 years, how deep in love are you?" Vivian is beautiful and talented. Even my mom is always praising her, saying she's a chip off the old block, but even better. And she's gorgeous, probably the most beautiful girl in our circle, right? My hand paused while making the coffee. "Frank, if I really did break up with Vivian, would it be a huge waste?" He shook his head. "How many times has she made you miserable? I've seen it all. Besides, you're a great catch yourself. Or else would Vivian have even looked at you? You can definitely find someone better." I couldn't help but smile. "Thanks. But hearing you sound so down the other day, I seriously wanted to go beat her up." "It was fine, really. Keep telling yourself that. It really was fine." It was like a sky that had been overcast for days, making you feel gloomy, until a huge storm finally broke, washing away all the pent-up frustration. And in the end, the windows were clear, and the sky was bright. Thanksgiving arrived. Vivian held my hand as we walked into her family's house. Her mom greeted us immediately. "Kevin, this girl hasn't been giving you a hard time, has she?" I smiled and shook my head. "No." Her mom asked me a few things about my business. "I can introduce you to some clients, you know. You should come play cards with us more often." I helplessly agreed. In the years I lived with them, they had always treated me well. They would even pressure Vivian about marriage at the dinner table. "Vivian, you and Kevin aren't getting any younger. A few years ago, you used your careers as an excuse, but now that your relationship and careers are stable, shouldn't you be thinking about getting married?" This had happened before. I remember once in the study, Vivian's mom had asked me to bring some fruit in. I walked in just as her father and she were finishing a conversation about the company. Her dad then brought me up. "When your grandfather passed away, he specifically asked us to take good care of Kevin. I was against you two dating at first. You've heard the rumors. Some people said I was adopted, others that I was a social climber, that I wasn't from the right kind of family. But if you really like him, you should get engaged soon. Give the boy some security. With that temper of yours, Kevin is the only one who can put up with you." I heard Vivian laugh. "I still want to have fun for a couple more years. If I settle down now, who knows if my feelings will change. Let's talk about it when I'm 30. Vivian was only 26. I didn't say anything. I knew she would refuse. But in the next second, she said, "Okay." I jerked my head up. She turned to me. "Kevin, let's get married." "No, I don't want to." "On the way back, can you pull over for a second?" Vivian didn't hit the brakes, just said calmly, "Whatever you have to say, just say it. I don't want to get married." Her brow, usually so elegant, was now furrowed, making her look irritated and intimidating. She took a deep breath, turned the car around, and started driving at high speed. I grabbed the seatbelt in alarm. "Vivian, where are you going?" "To City Hall. We're registering to get married right now." "Are you crazy?" I said, "I don't want to get married." Vivian was unervingly calm. "You need a reason to break up, right? If it's because of Ethan, I promise I'll never see him again. And don't give me that bullshit excuse about needing to sleep. Is that really worth throwing away our 7-year relationship?" Her eyes were red, but I felt nothing. A 7-year relationship? If Vivian's bottle of love was getting fuller and fuller, mine was slowly being drained, and now it was mostly empty. "Vivian, you only started dating me to rebel against your parents, didn't you?" She didn't answer. The car slowed and pulled over to the side of the road. "I overheard you back then. I didn't rush to leave. After a long moment, Vivian finally asked, "Then why didn't you break up with me then?" I looked down, my eyelashes fluttering. My voice caught. Out of gratitude. I could never bring myself to say the words, "Let's break up." Vivian clenched her jaw. She asked me, "Kevin, do you not love me anymore? Do I not love her?" After all these years, it felt like I'd just gotten used to having Vivian around. Everyone thought we were the perfect couple, a match made in heaven. Vivian had a bad temper, but I was gentle and tolerant. Everyone said she had completely fallen for me. Do I still love her? The question echoed from the bottom of my heart. But in that hazy moment, I thought of the person I used to be, the me who tossed and turned all night after our fights, the me who waited until midnight just to hear her say happy birthday. That me would never have hesitated to answer. The intensity of young love only makes the present feel that much more tragic. I managed to hum, "Yes, Vivian. I don't love you anymore." I had always thought that being with Vivian was the most natural thing in the world, even though her emotional investment was never strong, leaving me feeling like she was always just out of reach. But we were each other's first love. No one knows how to love perfectly from the start. So I always told myself that we were just on different timelines in our love story. Until, 6 months into our relationship, I overheard her talking with her friends. "You're not actually going to date Kevin for the rest of your life, are you?" Vivian casually tossed a ball at them. "Shut up, you're annoying me. For people like us, marriage isn't always our own choice. Does dumping Ethan to be with Kevin even mean anything? Yeah, it does. Ethan is a spoiled brat, so dramatic. Why should I have to marry him? Kevin is so much more obedient." Someone else laughed. "Well, you've been dating for 6 months. You've done everything, right? Just don't let him get too attached, or a few $1,000,000 won't be enough to get rid of him." Vivian frowned and threw a punch. "Watch your damn mouth. Will you?" I didn't have the courage to hear the rest. All I wanted to do was run. So she only dated me to get rid of Ethan? "Vivian, what do you take me for?" I stayed at school for the rest of the afternoon. Then I decisively sent a message to Vivian. "Are you free this afternoon? I need to talk to you." Yes. I was going to break up with her face to face. Sophomore year, I had just arrived in Boston. The education in my small town was worlds away from what it was here. In English class, my classmates all spoke with fluent British or American accents, while my pronunciation was off, making people laugh and leaving me red-faced every time. One day, I was in the small garden at Vivian's house, reading my textbook and crying. Vivian saw me. "Why are you crying?" My hypersensitive pride, born of insecurity, made me tell a clumsy lie. I got sand in my eye. Vivian burst out laughing. Her laugh was so bright it was blinding, almost painful. Humiliated, I snapped, "What's it to you?" Then I ran off. That night, when I came out of the shower, I saw her sitting at my desk. I jumped, quickly covering my bare chest. Vivian's eyes darted away, and I had no choice but to go back into the bathroom and put on a t-shirt. When I came out, she was already playing an English video on the computer. Her ears were red. She lectured me, "If your English is bad, just work on it." My family was new money. When we first moved here, the girls in the neighborhood bullied me. I just beat them up until they respected me. "You don't need to have so much pride. Just study hard." She always knew how proud I was. So why was she insulting me with this backhanded comfort? I decided to break up with her. But then something unexpected happened. My uncle came to Boston to find me. When my grandfather was seriously ill, my uncle had wanted to take me in, but my aunt refused, causing chaos in their family. He had always been good to me, and he just wanted to see how I was doing. But he suddenly collapsed at the station. I later found out it was because he'd asked for a divorce, and my aunt had caused a huge fight. His health was already poor, and he came without properly recovering. Vivian was the one who told me all this. By the time I got to the hospital, she had already paid all the medical bills. "It seems your uncle was injured before and it healed on its own. His constitution is just weak. My mom said our family's lawyer will handle the divorce for him, so you don't need to worry." I looked at Vivian's sincere eyes. I was speechless. Her father pulled me aside. He said earnestly, "Kevin, don't worry about your uncle. He's just weak and needs to rest. As for the divorce, we'll help them. I always wanted to treat you like a son, but who would have thought my daughter Vivian would fall for you? I was against it at first because feelings can be so unpredictable. But since you two are in love, then be good to each other. She can be a real handful sometimes, so please be patient with her. After that, I choked back a sob. I understand, sir. Thank you. The help from Vivian's family was a debt that, for the small person I was, felt impossible to repay. I knew then, it was probably impossible for me to be the one to break up with Vivian. After Thanksgiving, I was busy with a coffee culture festival. While waiting backstage, I heard a hesitant voice. Kevin? I looked up, my mind blank for 3 seconds. Ivy? She smiled at me. It really is you. Look at you making latte art so skillfully. I remember when we first met, you didn't even know how to use an espresso machine and said you only drank Nescafe. I smiled back. And you're a judge now. No longer just a laid-back coffee shop owner? I first met Ivy in my junior year of college. I was working several jobs around the clock to pay for my tuition, living expenses, and trips with Vivian. Vivian's family had given me a lot of money, but I felt I couldn't owe them anymore, so I never touched the money in my account. I meticulously planned every hour of my day. Coffee was my life support. One day I was so exhausted, but I still had to study for finals that night, so I ducked into a random coffee shop. Extra shot Americano, thanks. Ivy was feeling particularly lazy that day. Sir, we're closing. Then whatever is easiest for you to make. I still have to clean up. If you're not busy, how about you make a cup yourself? The equipment is right there. It's on me. This owner had some personality, but I didn't even know how to use an espresso machine. Ivy sighed in resignation, took the tools from my hands, and told me to sit down and wait. But the chair in her shop was so comfortable, I fell asleep. I finally got a good night's sleep. When I woke up, I found a blanket draped over me. Ivy asked, "You're awake?" How long was I asleep? She smiled. I'm about to open for the day. My face turned red. I'm so sorry. As I was about to leave, she called out to me. She gestured with her chin. Here, your extra shot Americano. I took a sip. Thank you. You look exhausted. Want to be a barista here? The pay is pretty good. And just like that, she taught me everything, from brewing to latte art. Later, I opened my own coffee shop, but she moved to another city. We rarely kept in touch. Where's your girlfriend? I fell silent. Ivy clapped her hands together. Good riddance. With how petty she was, it's for the best you two broke up. In the past, Vivian and I had fought many times because of Ivy. Each time, I was the one who had to coax her back. Ivy would always ask me, Kevin, why are you working so hard? I'd say, because I have to work very, very hard to find the determination and courage to leave. When I got home, Vivian was waiting at my door. I had changed the password. She probably didn't know. My steps faltered when I saw her, but then I walked up as if nothing was wrong. Can I help you? I opened the door and let her in. Her hair was a little messy, and she didn't look as confident as usual. I found your appointment records and the doctor who saw you. That day, I took Ethan to orthopedics for a checkup. You saw us, didn't you? It's because he blocked my car and I accidentally hit him. I had to take him to the hospital, and I really did have a business trip the next day, so I couldn't go with you. Her eyes were red as she hugged me tightly. I heard from the doctor that you were terrified. You wanted this family too, right? Kevin, let's not break up. Please? We can get married. We'll have kids someday, I promise. I'll never disappoint you again. I was as calm as a judge passing a death sentence on our relationship. Vivian, I don't love you anymore. It's enough that I love you. We can get married. We can build our feelings back up. Who says people have to be in love to get married? Vivian, I said, I don't want to be with you anymore. All sorts of reasons were pulling at me. Breaking up wasn't a rash decision. It was the culmination of countless small things. Vivian, the reason we're breaking up is because there's no love left between us. When you were on top of the world, I was slowly falling out of love with you. I'm not someone who settles. I truly loved you before, and it's just as true that I don't love you now. Now, I finally have the courage and determination to leave. Later, I opened a new branch on the other side of the city. One day, an employee told me a beautiful woman came in and asked specifically for a coffee made by me. It was Vivian. We hadn't seen each other in a long time. An extra shot Americano. Okay. I sat across from her, watching the people come and go outside the window. Vivian took a sip of her coffee. Her throat moved slightly. It's too bitter. Extra shot Americanos are always bitter. She nodded. I'm leaving. Okay. That day, neither of us said goodbye.